Hi, this is a reminder to myself. Now, a few days ago, I had proved that time is relative to mass, meaning that time and mass cannot exist without each other. Similarly, without mass, there is no gravity. And I have proved this point by using space. Now, we believe that we live in a third dimension, but particularly we also have another dimension, which is time. It's the fourth dimension, but you cannot properly visualize it. But a few scientists have made visualizations, such as Minovsky space. A lot of models are there. Now, particularly, the point I want to prove here is that if you were to take space as practically nothing, we say the space as a field without timing. We don't have time in space, and you have particular field, and you have something that has mass. Okay, it will bend the space, but there's no slowing down of time, there's no difference. So the question is, does what will happen if there was no time? What would happen to something that has mass? What would happen to energy if there was nothing called time? If time never existed, then what really defines something? In my belief, on the contrary, I believe that time is what defines matter, it defines energy. And time is what really defines mass, gravity, and energy as a whole. We can properly say these things are true because time exists. They all are relative. Because if you were to have normal space and mass, there wouldn't be any use of the space. There wouldn't be any use. You have relatively just practically nothing. Let's imagine of nothing, practically nothing, like no space, not even color of black. Now, how would something form inside of it? How would? Well, if we add something, we get something. Like if 0 plus 1 is 1, it's not 0. So now in this empty space, you added a concept. So this is kind of like similar to the theory of everything. Uh, I added something inside of it. It could be anything. It's some mass I added into this nothingness. I created something out of it. Meaning that meaning that something is relative to nothing. Without nothing, you have something. Without something, you have nothing. Meaning like both can't exist without each other. Something cannot exist without nothing, and nothing cannot exist without something. Meaning that relatively, you cannot think of a concept where particularly you have zero. Like there is no absolute concept of zero. If we were to ever really find the particular concept of zero in the universe, or in the physical reality, or in our dimension, I believe that would be the theory for everything. But on the contrary, I don't believe it's really possible to find the absolute value of zero. We're like observers, we're not particularly in nothing. We are in the relativity. We are in nothing, and we are something, meaning we exist because nothing exists. Similarly, without time, you have nothing. Time is what basically defines everything. They are relative. Meaning, similarly, how we say mass is equal to energy, time is also equals to mass. Particularly, if you were to add all these points, you get an answer. A few years ago, I had wrote a theory, and it states that everything is relative. I called it the line and the circle theory. I believe that in this theory, we take a line. A line is particularly in maths. A line is infinite. I'm not talking about a line segment. I'm talking about a line. And a line is particularly infinite. It does not have a particular measurement. It's infinite, and you start from point. Meaning that in my belief that nothing started. Like by adding something, you got. I'm just talking about the relativity between nothing and something. You have nothingness. and you added something, so now you can definitely say it's something there. Meaning that without nothing, there is no something, and without something, there is no nothing. Now, similarly, if we started at this point, we take a point, and it goes infinitely, and it's something. It's just like you have a handbag, and there's infinitely handbag. There are infinite handbags, but you cannot particularly point out from where it started. If it were to be something physical, it particularly can be detected from where it started. For example, you have atoms. Atoms have really created everything, and you have something smaller than it, quarks. But relatively, you cannot prove these things actually exist. Because what really creates quarks? They also have to be created something, and what really comes from the quarks is also something that comes from something. I'm talking about the relativity between the something and nothingness. Both cannot exist without each other, and the thing is that you cannot definitely point out the origin of particle, which is a line. Now we use circular theory to point out this one. We use time, for example, time. In my belief, time never started from anywhere. It does not start from a point. It just relatively exists. But so it's like a circle, and on a circle, it's like infinite. It's like both like it's like you can use the Schrödinger's cat theory down here. It's both a circle and a line at the same time. Meaning that you have a circle and you have a line, and the circle is time and the line is also the time. You can start it from a point and it's infinite, and you can start it on a circle on a point and it's also infinite. Meaning to measure relatively to measure, you use the line, but it's practically like a circle. Meaning it never started and it will never end. Now we can apply a philosophical principle here, but that will be in another video. Thank you. This is a reminder to my older self if I really forget my theory.